Christine. Good evening and welcome to the Fredonia Central School District Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. Well, usually we start off with a senior helping us with a pledge, but we're going with the young ones today. And since we have a notable retiree in the back row, I'm going to ask Ms. Johnston if she would come forward and help us lead with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I was trying to hide back here.
Can't do it. If all would rise.
Ask her to sing and dance Australian
I will say the pledge. I'm
No.
really good with the
Have her sing the Australian anthem.
This is to the USA. Okay?
Yeah, I do the pledge every day.
Okay.
I'm better than the kids.
Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Give you a turn tap?
All right. At some point I will probably have to pay for that.
Or me.
Okay, so we have an agenda, consent agenda for tonight. And we all know how that works. Approval of the consent agenda approves everything within that portion of the consent. And then we go through everything else that's not in consent and vote on it and approve it. Or not approve it, but we at least vote on it. I'm going to ask for a motion to bring it forward, but I'm going to ask that we move item 7A, 1 through 3. Am I right on that? Or is it 1-4? Yeah, 7. Correct. 1 through 3. We're going to move that to right after our. Is this one? Thank you. We're going to move that to right after our special presentations. So with that one change, I'm going to ask that we have a motion to bring the agenda to the floor.
So much.
Ms. Gullo, in the second. Ms. Powell-Fortnell. Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to pull out of consent for tonight? No?
I just want to mention item 7C3, which is on page 4. Brianna Kelly's name is under special education extended school year. That should actually be in the high school section, so that's going to be right under Nathan Sherwood's name here.
Okay.
Just a clerical correction.
It just doesn't change anything, it just
Yeah.
changes.
Approving for summer school.
Correct, yes.
8E1?
You don't want to go for yourself?
No.
Okay.
New business.
So you're abstaining from your name only as opposed to every other
Right.
coach and assistant coach. Okay. Anything else? With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. The board is reserved this time to hear comments from the audience. Is there anyone who would like to address the board tonight? No? Quiet group. Okay, we will get right into this. We have the retiree recognition and a presentation by the Fredonia Central School District Administration and Leadership. Mr. Ziliaks, we got a few tearjerkers here, I hear.
We might. A couple comments. First of all of our retirees from this school year, we certainly thank everybody for all their years of service, all the hard work, dedication, effort, commitment across the board. If you add up our retirees this year in terms of years of service, it would equal about 280 years of service. So we're talking about a great deal of time and energy, and please know that it is 100% noticed, appreciated very much on behalf of the district, and we absolutely want to acknowledge that. We also wanted to note that we typically, as these resolutions come up throughout the year, as administration and board, usually spend some time celebrating, making some comments, and we've done that, I believe, with every candidate for retirement this year, leading up to tonight's meeting. And not that we can't go back and revisit some of those pieces, but part of what we wanted to do tonight is allow those representatives from the associations to share a few thoughts with the group if they wish, and just have a moment to really recognize and celebrate everybody for what they've done for the district. So I don't know if anybody from the associations wants to step up and go first, but thank you, Ms. Greeno.
Thank you so much for letting us speak tonight. The Fredonia Teachers Association wishes to congratulate all of the FCSD retirees. Our support staff are incredibly important to us, and we know we could not effectively teach without them, so we want to say congratulations. In particular, Cindy Gloff is a favorite of students and teachers, and I've been teaching in the middle school with her for, is it 15 years? 11. So she's so helpful always and approachable for students, so congratulations, Cindy. Mrs. Christy Saki's soft manner has helped countless students remediate their math skills, and most recently she really showed herself to be a team player, shifting over to shepherding first graders through COVID and these last couple of years. Mr. Andrew Pinjator will talk, and I hear or argue, with any willing body and is well respected for his wisdom. Miss Kate Summer always has a smile, and her passion for reading, writing, and people shines through all that she does. Mr. Darrell Wag, I told him this week, has been team dad to grade 7 for many years. His easy manner and understanding have turned many difficult middle schoolers onto a better path. And Mrs. Jerry Workoff has never stopped trying to be the best possible teacher for her students. Always the advocate, she makes sure kids are getting what they need. Congratulations to all of you on your wonderful careers, and good luck in your next chapters.
I just want to add this year's FTA members adds up to a little bit under 150 years of experience. And again, I think we have Mr. Wag here this evening, and also Mrs. Johnston in the back. And I think one of the things that comes back to me is, again, someone who taught for 15 years, not as long as 30, but I had a decent run as a teacher, is just the absolute professionalism that you bring to the table. And anytime I've come by your room, it's been about business and about teaching and about learning, but also done with a sense of humor and a lightness to what you both bring to the table. So I just wanted to let you know from my perspective, I absolutely appreciate that and have enjoyed getting to know each of you over the last 2.5 years. I don't know if there's anything else from the board or our administrators that we just want to touch on before we leave our FTA members for the night.
I'll just agree with Michelle that Darrell really takes on a great leadership role in our building. We are going to miss him very much, but I will say I'm very disappointed in him because he is refusing to dance in the talent show.
I do have a minor role as of today.
Yes! Yes! Okay, I take that back. I take that back.
Small, there is some maybe subtle dancing. It's not going to be a showstopper.
All right. But we will miss him so much. He truly is an irreplaceable person. And our kids love him. Our staff loves him. I love him. He's a great guy. So.
Is Lisa still back there?
Yep.
Hi, Lisa. Since you showed up, I spoke about you before, but I just wanted to say, Lisa, her relationships with kids have always come first. She's worked with our most challenging and our brightest and best and everything in between. And she comes to work with a smile on her face every single day. And I think that it's just really an immeasurable loss to our building, what she brings to our kids on a constant way. I mean, thank you, Lisa, for everything that you've done. And, certainly, all the kids love you, we love you too, and thanks for everything that you've done for us. You're going to be incredibly missed.
I appreciate it, I will be back a lot.
You better be. She promised to come and sub.
I just wanted to mention that from the district office, every year we like to show a little token of appreciation. So for our retirees, we're choosing to, again, do book donations. So each of the retirees were given the option to choose a particular book or let our librarian choose. And so we will have donated books to our library collection on behalf of each of those individuals. So thank you.
Great. Okay, anything else? Okay, so next we have,
Hold on, we're not going too far.
we're not.
We're gonna move on to our next
Okay,
group.
okay, so let's,
Sorry about that.
sorry.
Okay, no problem. CSEA, anything you'd like to share, Amy? And thank you both for being here. We appreciate that.
I'm not gonna go over there because that's way too tall for me. So I work with the littles, so I have a big enough voice, hopefully. I'm not used to public speaking, so bear with me. First, Mrs. Greenow, thank you for your, you stole a little bit of my thunder because I was gonna thank the teachers for their strength and their undying support for our support staff. We really appreciate it from the ground up. So where do I start? Tammy Nosek. She has given 11 years of her care and attention to her special ed elementary students during her time here. She'll definitely be greatly missed, but we'll still see her around here because she's been subbing, and as far as I know, she'll continue to sub. So she's been here 11 years. Sharon Roslock, she has quietly dedicated 26 years to our students, spending her time in the elementary special ed. She's a calm, peaceful demeanor in usually a very chaotic situation, it can be. And she's definitely going to be missed from staff and students alike. And last but definitely not least, Cindy, with 11 years. What can I say? She's been my right hand for several years, working with the union, not even just before me, but during me. And she's going to be missed, as it's been stated several times, by not only staff, but I don't know that there's a student that hasn't been touched by Cindy. Like I said, by staff and student. And that's about it. Thank you.
And again, just among the 3 retirees from CSEA, that's 48 years of experience here in the district. And again, very much appreciated. Any administrator or board member?
I will. Cindy works in the middle school. She goes above and beyond. She runs some of our clubs, and our kids look to her. She's a person they reach out to when they need to talk, and so we're really going to miss her.
Cindy worked in the high school with us too, and she not only opened her heart to all of our kids who had very similar relationships in the middle school, she even opened up her home to kids, and just very, very loving, very caring, and huge heart for any of our kids, and we'll always go the extra mile, so thank you, Cindy, we'll miss you too.
Cindy, I also want just to add, thank you for being willing to get involved in the CSE leadership. That's oftentimes a position that some people shy away from and aren't willing to get involved, so thank you very much. And even up through our negotiations currently happening right now, you're at the table each time and we really appreciate that as well, on top of everything else that you've done for the district, so thank you. All right, we also have, and I don't know if we have anybody from the SSSA here tonight. I'm going to say no, but we have a few people that we definitely want to recognize. We talked about John Crane as his resolution came up, and we recognized that no one writes a resignation letter quite like John Crane, and gave us, actually then he had to revise it, so he gave us two opportunities to have a little humor in the work that we do. John's been with us for 15 years. He's part of our team at the district office, which is part of his run, and just a very even-keeled, steady, positive, friendly person every day. And we absolutely appreciate that. Also Diane Snyder as well, who's only been with us for 3 years, but has definitely left an impression. Being not only a hard worker, but very talkative and very lively in this area of the building, and always, again, shows a little bit of a sense of humor in the work that she does, and also caring for others around her, and the want for people to be happy or get whatever it is they're looking at happening in terms of a building perspective. So she's been a nice addition over the 3 years as well. Anybody want to touch base real quick on John or Diane?
Diane cleans our office, and she does bring humor and a wicked amount of Lysol. Everything is clean, every virus is dead, for sure, many times over. But she goes the extra mile in our office, cleaning some areas that I think may not have been cleaned in a long time. And I'm going to miss her pop-ins and her lively conversation. So I appreciate it. Even though she's been here for 3 years, it's been enjoyable.
As you said, John is a member of our district office team, and he did one of his runs, and he definitely enjoys participating in our humor. And oftentimes we'll find people join in with some of the various and sundry silly things that we do to keep our spirits up, and we will miss that. I remember. He also gardens, and he would always bring in his tomatoes in the summer and put a little basket of them there for us to enjoy and be part of. So I will definitely miss the laughs with him, and just the quiet way he just does things, and you kind of notice, you're like, oh, that was John, who was here. And so we just have fun with that, so we appreciate him. We will miss him.
This is going back to the beginning of the year, but I also wanted to recognize Jerry Bradigan here tonight. He was one of our OT assistants. He could be seen in the elementary school putting on some steps and miles each day back and forth to classrooms and to his office. And I felt like really went out of his way to provide the services that he was attached to, and do so again in a spirit that was friendly and positive. Although he retired way back in the fall, I wanted to mention him here tonight. Anybody want to share a thought about Jerry as we wrap up this part of the evening?
I just wanted to share some general thoughts, but Jerry was part of my department, as were many of the people that were talked about tonight, and I think I know each and every person we've chatted about. So I don't want to go into any specifics, but just to say that they've all contributed very positively to our culture and our community. And I think I know personally myself, I'm a better person for having had the good fortune to work with each and every one of these people, and I think we all have that same sentiment. So it's nice that we have the opportunity to recognize everyone tonight.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything from the board? I would just like to say, it's tough to see people who've been with the district so long, who've had such an impact. And even though I don't specifically call anyone out by name, I do appreciate everyone who has kind of given their lives to this district. And not only the district, but we talk quite a bit about the board, and that we're here for the kids, and it's obvious that these retirees are here for that exact same reason. It's for the kids. It's not It's not for them, it's for the kids. And that means so much to me, so much to the board, because it is for the students. So, okay, thank you. We've moved up items 7A 1 through 4, and we're going to bring all 4 of these to the table at the same time, and then we will discuss and vote. So if I could have a motion for the approval of recommendation for tenure for Lindsay Moon, Mary Ehrig, Scott Herzig, and Darren Cooch. So moved. Mr. Johnston, and a second. Mr. Hawk. Mr. Lilias.
Yeah, we're excited here tonight. The board in the district takes the position that tenure is earned and not something that is given to our candidates here tonight or any other time. So well done on earning tenure in the district over the last 4 years. Again, that in our minds is a definite reflection of your time, effort, commitment, genuine concern for our students, and also overall care for the district and everything that we're trying to do to move ourselves and also our students forward. We'd like to start off with maybe just me giving a couple brief comments, turn it over to our administrators, which I think would mostly be middle school tonight, and then also giving our association a chance to share a few thoughts. But in terms of Lindsay, I do a morning lap. This year she had a class during that time, but last year she usually had a prep period and we would chat here and there. And the thing that I think of when I think of Lindsay is her really thinking about how she can create a supportive environment, a friendly environment, a caring environment for our students. She has connections to mindfulness and also yoga, and incorporates that kind of mindset into what she does across the district. And I think that's important always, but especially over the last couple of years, that those characteristics have become increasingly important for our students during the pandemic and now that we're in the post-pandemic phase. So well done to her. Thank you for all of that, and congratulations. Mr. Paschke, anything you'd like to share?
Would you like to say anything tonight, Lindsay?
I feel like you should go first.
So, Lindsay, if you can't tell, is a little bit red. She's probably one of the most humble people that I know, and so hearing compliments and positive things about herself, I think, makes her a little bit embarrassed, but the reality is they're all true. When she got the job here, I remember there were some tears involved, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And she was explaining to me how happy she was to get her dream job at Fredonia, and she hasn't disappointed from day one. She's really, I would say, beyond the awesome work that she does in the classroom. She makes really important contributions to our school community. She's involved in just about everything. She's been an advisor of just about everything, and she's now our new student ambassador, program advisor, co-advisor with Mr. Romans, which I'm looking forward to that becoming a really important part of our school community and community outreach. So it's a nice new step. Lindsay, I can't say enough about you. You deserve tenure. You're fantastic. So congratulations, and you deserve this so much. Yeah. Now, 10 minutes or less.
Can I say something real quick? Can I say something?
You can.
Like Mr. Pesci said, when I got hired here, it literally was like my dream job. He had mentioned Fredonia family, and he could not have been more right. I have such a supportive administration and coworkers, and I'm just so happy to be here. So thank you very much.
Ms. Greenow, would you like to take these one at a time, or would you want to wrap
Can I
it
go
up?
at the end?
You
That's
can.
great, thanks.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Next, we have Mr. Scott Herzig, who is here tonight. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Again, on my morning lap, I usually go down to middle school, take a turn there by the 5th grade team, and When I see Scott in action, there's definitely a calm, cool confidence to what's going on in that room. And you know, sometimes the fifth graders can bring some enthusiasm and maybe that ebbs and flows, but there's always just this level-headedness and very calm demeanor in the room that I think is really helpful to any learning environment, but particularly with students who are transitioning from the elementary into middle school. I'm also impressed by just the amount of work that the students are doing, or he is engaging with the students. I don't think I've ever come by where there's a time when there's been some downtime or some unproductive time or where students weren't on task. So thank you for all that. Again, we appreciate everything that you've done, and wanted to give Ms. Chapman a chance to chime in as well.
Sure. When I think of Scott, I think of a hard worker. He's here early, you know, and he does an amazing job with our kids. He is working them hard, which we want him to do. But there's a side of him, you know, he's got some kids who really depend on him. And I can think of one girl in particular who he has taken her under his wing. He is committed to helping her grow as a student. And to me, that's impressive because you have a lot of students to work with. And so he takes that extra time to get to know what his kids need. He lives in the community, he knows the families, and so he has been an amazing addition to the middle school. He loves math, which, you know, sometimes that's a tough subject for our kids. But the kids know he loves it, and so they want to perform good for him. So we are very happy that he's receiving tenure. Glad he's a part of the middle school.
I just want to say thank you to the board, my administration, middle school, FTA, my fifth grade team, staff who's here tonight, and everyone else who's involved in everything that we do. It's been a great opportunity for me to be here, and I look forward to the remainder of my career being here at Fredonia. Thank you.
Next up is Mary Earrig. So again, on my morning lap, I head down the middle school towards 8th grade. Her room's there second to the end on the left. I appreciate, Mary, the lightness that you bring to your instruction as well as your interaction with the students. Very upbeat, very friendly, very welcoming. And I feel like our students respond to the energy from the adults. The energy that you bring to them, I think, creates a really nice atmosphere for learning and maximizes what can happen in your room. So thank you for all of the above. We appreciate it very much. Congratulations, Mrs. Troutman.
Yeah, so Mary is probably one of the most kind people I have ever met. And she's that way with everyone she comes in contact to. You feel warm and fuzzy after talking with her, and our kids adore her. You know, she just treats them wonderfully. She is one of the most reflective people I have ever met. You know, when I do her evaluation, she would say, "Oh, that was terrible, Paula." And I'm like, "No, it wasn't, and it was great." And she's like, "Well, I should have did this and that and the other." And so she's so reflective, and when she's teaching, she wants to do the very best job for our kids. And we are so lucky to have her here and to have her get tenure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you to all of you. Thank you for taking a chance on me, and I'm grateful to be here, but the work, I mean, still have a long way to go, so thank you. I'll shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna happen. Thank you all very much. I'm so grateful.
The last Derek Cook's room is right across from Mary's. And if you've ever chatted with Derek about instruction or about his class. Probably the thing that comes to my mind is creativity. The first time I'd ever stopped by his room for any significant length of time, his class had, I think, read an article about blues music, and they were talking and really, analyzing the text. But then Derek grabs, I believe, a homemade cigar box, guitar out of the corner, and begins to play for the students, and just kind of add another layer of engagement to what was going on. And I'm sitting like, what is going on right now? I just didn't see it coming. He also has integrated video games and gaming into his curriculum and into his coursework, which I think, again, is a natural hook for students and something that they enjoy and something they engage in and something they really see the relevance in. So again, to make that part of your class is of great benefit and really shows that you're willing to maybe go out of your comfort zone to make connections and really bring the relevance to what's happening in your classroom to our students. So thank you for all that. Congrats again. Mrs. Troutman.
So yeah, you stole a lot of what I could say about Derek. He is so innovative. He looks for ways to connect the kids to ELA. And he uses different ways to do that. And the kids, they don't even know that they're learning some of the time, and it's great. Derek also is super reflective. He is way too hard on himself, like every single day. He wants to do his very best and is afraid of letting us down. He's one of those teachers that you just love having, because you say, hey Derek, what do you think about when? And he's like, well, I don't know. What do you think about it? Let me think about that. And he's willing to roll up his sleeves and learn new things if it's going to benefit our kids. So I can't say enough of good things about all of our candidates, Derek included. We just have great people, great additions, and Derek is definitely one of them.
I would just like to say thank you to all the board as well as the school district in its entirety. The reason I am able to be so innovative is because there's a mutual trust. You guys trust me with your children and with the curriculum and to do what I need to do. And because of that trust, I'm able to continue to experiment and try these innovative things. So I appreciate that coming from you guys.
The acoustics are really good tonight, so I'm going to take advantage of that. First, before I talk about the tenure recipients, I am so sorry, Lisa. I'm going to blame this on I have a graduating senior mom brain situation. I knew you were retiring. And Lisa, as everyone knows, is beloved by everyone. She's adored by students and staff, and I've literally never heard a negative word said about her ever. She's amazing. So good luck to you. Mr. Scott Herzig has already established himself as a leader, a role model, and a coach. And based on that closest to the pin award yesterday, pretty good golfer as well. Mrs. Mary Eric's intelligent and quick wit are difficult to match. She fits so well on our middle school staff. Mr. Derek Cook connects very deeply with his students through exciting and engaging lessons that help students become good people. And Mrs. Lindsay Moon is so well loved because she's kind to everyone, and she has established herself as an organized and helpful advisor for student clubs. Congratulations to our tenure recipients on this milestone in your career, and we really look forward to what's to come. You're all amazing people.
Before we move forward with the vote, we understand this is a busy time of year. If you guys need to move on with your evening, we understand that. We appreciate the representatives being here from our associations as well as the spouses. So, well done.
Any comments from the board? Wait, whoa, we haven't voted yet. Any comments from the board? No? I will say, the board has taken considerable measures to make sure that our tenure candidates are worthy of receiving tenure. It's one of the biggest things that this board does in providing tenure, because it is such a binding contract with that teacher. We have had our administration present to us each and every tenure candidate. We've gone over performance reviews, we've talked about their personalities and how they help the students, okay? They help the students, and that's key. We're always interested in how they're helping the students. So we don't take this lightly. This is not the first time that we've reviewed these tenure candidates. This was done in executive session a couple months ago, I believe. So this is not a rubber stamp by the board, and we take this very seriously. So just so you know, this isn't easy. We do vet our candidates very strongly. So with that, all those in favor of granting tenure on these 4 candidates signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Okay, now you can leave. So we have minutes from the regular meeting of June 6th. Can I have a motion to bring those forward for approval?
So moved.
Ms. Khan, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Goa. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the financial treasurer's report and the budget status report. And I'm going to include the revenue status at the same time, Mr. Forrest.
Just go off the dashboard. So on the revenue side, we're doing okay. We've gotten additional monies in the area of Medicaid and interest income, which I've mentioned in the last probably half a year. So that's helped us support that side of the budget. We also received during the month of May $2.5 million in interest in state aid. So that was always good to get that. Expenditure side, on the other hand, we're running really tight still. Most of the expenses that you would expect to be up are up, some more than others. And we do have some adjustments that occur at the end of the year regarding transfers of health insurance and things like that, which are encapsulated in other funds during the course of the year. So I'm hopeful that the expense will come down a little bit when we get the final figures in. But right now we are running really close again, second year in a row.
Any questions from the board?
So John, question on the revenue status. On the last page, on page 14, there's the undistributed state area subtotal.
On the 2-page, page 14, so this is page 14 on it?
Yeah, there's only a couple of lines. So what do those numbers represent as far as, we'll start right from the initial appropriation and then to the end.
Right, so 31.9 would be the original budget, and then any adjustments would be held over, carried over.
I'm in the line right above that, the $7,662,000.
That's for the undistributed area only, so that would be your benefits and debt service.
Okay. So, you have far right side where it says encumbered outstanding of 240 and unencumbered. So where are we at in that?
So what that would be that encumbrances would be anything that you know that is anticipated already that maybe you've issued a purchase order for, or something that you earmarked. The unencumbered would be what's not spent or not earmarked at that point.
Okay. So at that point, would that represent where I see on the revenue status? So in that piece, we have excess revenue as of the end of May now, of 1.2 million.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, so how does this work together?
Well, you have the same thing, it's the anticipated, what you know, or what you booked in already, and then excess would be anything above and beyond that.
So on the revenue side, we're anticipating this dollar amount still before the end of June?
Yes?
Okay. So that's going to help us as far as where the numbers are?
Yeah, the revenue side, we're tracking roughly 380,000 ahead of budgeted right now.
Okay.
And that's primarily based on interest income and Medicare reimbursement, and then also some tuition and some rent.
Okay. And then also, so Aaron Marshall asked some time ago about interest, and you started showing us a tally as far as the interest we've been making. Where is that on this here? What line is
Well,
that?
actually, as you mentioned, that it appears that I neglected to give the investment report with the board packet. But if you want to look at the code 2401, which is just about halfway down the page, on the left-hand side, and then you bring it over year-to-date, we earned $141,000. We had budgeted $5,500, which was based upon interest rates 18 months ago when we finalized the budget.
Okay. So is that's included in the...
Yes.
Okay.
And the good news is the rates are, at least for now, holding, so
Right.
hopefully we can capture some more coming into the new school year.
Okay. All right, and then maybe, I know I'm mixing apples and oranges, but we're talking about money, so that's why I want to bring it up. To the maintenance piece, where are we as far as our facilities maintenance, as far as running on the budget? Are we over or under, because you have a couple of different lines for that in the dashboard?
Yeah, maintenance overall, which would include the custodial area, we're probably tracking right at full budget. We had a couple things that we didn't anticipate,
Okay.
and things are a little more costly.
All right. So, and I know I'm jumping around, when you do on the revenue status, or I'm sorry, the budget status, you have adjustments. So that 51,810 that you have as an adjustment, that piece is only talking about the adjustments that you made on these line items, right?
It wouldn't be anything additional, would be general carryovers from the previous year that when you carry them over, you're unsure if you're still going to spend them. So you are allowed to carry over a reserve for those, and then when you actually do spend them, that becomes an adjustment to your budget total, but it's a carryover from prior year.
So it doesn't have anything to do with where the money is moved from one line item to another?
There could be some of that, but that usually happens in June when we close out the codes, make sure that things like BOCES expenses are in the right place, things like that.
Okay. So where would I have looked for a total tally as to what the adjustments we have to make at the beginning of the year?
In terms of what is forthcoming?
Well, I mean, because the adjustments last month, I think it was, and you don't quote me, but I want to say there was a couple $100,000, is that correct, of adjustments? So I was just assuming that money was being moved within this budget status report.
Yeah, and what you'll see in the adjustment column coming forward is there'll be some codes that were over, some of the special ed codes, for example, maintenance may end up being over, and so that's where you're able to pick lines that you carried as surplus and then move it to cover that negative, because you're not allowed to have any negative codes at the end of the day. So those will be adjustments. You'll have year-end encumbrances for moving into the next year, things that you haven't ordered yet, but you anticipate you will, or whatever the case may be with that. So there'll be multiple adjustments there, and that'll be in that column. And then in the actual expenditure column, which you won't see on this type of report, but it'll happen, that'll be where I transfer anybody that's paid out of federal grants for salaries. Sometimes both ways, if we've got somebody that shouldn't be there, make sure that's cleaned up. You have health insurance coming over from our trusted agency fund, the employee share to come back against the cost, so things like that.
So we have some fudge, if you want to say, to move things around. I guess, so this all leads to problems that I've been hearing about and reading about on our fields. And, you know, having done quite a bit of general maintenance in my time, I just kind of wonder why we aren't using some of those funds to correct some of the health and safety issues on the fields.
Mr. Lauer had put in a couple of suggestions in his athletic budget for possible summer work, which included some field work out here. We actually had a brief discussion about that today, Dr. Zillers and I. So we're aware of that, looking at it. And we continue to be short-staffed in maintenance, which isn't helping us at that either.
Okay. So I understand the short staff, but are we looking at hiring any contractors to do this type of work? And I understand we have our 5-year facility study going on, but if we've waited 3 years for the beginning of that process to take place, but yet the whole time we've had kids playing on the field.
We have not gotten to that part of the process yet.
Okay. So
part of, I just want to chime in, so part of what Mr. Lauer was doing in the early part of this spring was trying to connect with companies that just do athletic fields, which in our area there aren't many, but there is one in the Buffalo area, I think they're called Buffalo Niagara Turf Management or something like that. He had reached out to them. They came down and spoke with him about both the Orange Bowl and the fields out back. And then, since then, we have not heard a lot. He's reached out to them several times. I don't know if it's that they're not interested in making the trip down here for work at this point, but that was the best case scenario, that we would get somebody that this is what they do, this is their specialty. In my recent conversation with him a couple days ago, which led to the conversation with John, there was a discussion about, do we now transition to something more local that would just be people with expertise in landscaping that might achieve the same result. But his initial thought was, could we tap into one of these companies that is the expertise? So at least in the moment, they don't seem real interested or excited about working in Fredonia.
well, I guess there's a lot of pieces that might go into that equation that hasn't drawn them towards working for us. And I don't want to speculate on that. So I would just say the general maintenance piece is more of a concern. Having read that article that was in the Spectator, I'm rather concerned kids are worried about putting their foot into a divot while they're waiting for a ball to come. And so I think the drainage has been an issue right along. As far as filling in, I know Mr. Conharlow had done quite a bit of extra work immediately after that was installed and tried to rectify some things. So I guess it's just a concern that I have as a board member as to what I'm hearing about. When being on the facilities committee, I haven't heard any talk about this, but you read about it through the kids talking and writing articles. And I don't think our athletic director, unless really charged with the job, we have a person that's in charge of facilities, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I've often spoke about why I don't hear boots on the ground. You were surprised to see me when the grass wasn't cut for a soccer practice, to see me out there at 6 o'clock or 7, whatever it was in the morning.
Sure.
And so I just kind of would like to see this growing concern from the community, and now I have a concern, I think my other board members may also feel the same, but it's a health and safety issue.
Agreed.
It's just general maintenance.
Might add, a couple of years ago, the football coaches got in contact with a group from Rochester, so maybe that's just a little bit too far away that we haven't gone that distance. And they've done Fredonia State's fields and done a very good job there. So I'm not sure if this is the same group out of Buffalo or not, but the football coaches are aware of a group out of Rochester that does their specialty is fields, and they do that in the Buffalo area, so just some information to look into possibly, if you're looking for a group. And they were motivated to come down here too, so.
Okay. How long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. They actually came down here and looked at the field.
I'm just wondering what the interplay is with the facilities committee. Why is this not being discussed by the facilities committee?
Well, it's a topic that I would say had been brought up at some point, but never really followed through with. And this is kind of what I think we're hearing from the public and some of the coaches is, there's been a concern. There has been a standing concern. And it's just a point of, when I read it, filling in a divot is just general maintenance. It's not getting a person from Rochester or a person from Buffalo.
Well, I think the initial thing that we asked for was an estimate, so what they believe our fields need and what that would cost if we were to employ them. That was, in our minds, kind of step one towards understanding it from a larger perspective. I think, that could be as simple as that. One of the concerns was, which came up in our conversations in the fall with Mr. Beers about skinning the field and, what impact would that have on the field? And one thing I'm leery of is doing any work quickly or with people who don't necessarily have an expertise in that area and potentially making something worse. Now, I'm not saying that would be filling it with it.
I would think if I was trying to explain my way out of something, that would be a good way of doing it.
Okay. We've got to move on.
I'm just wondering if, this is an important topic, but we should get it on the agenda and have the appropriate parties present, maybe, to
Sure.
deeper dive?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have a review of the treasurer's report for May 2023. May I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Ms. Bello and Mr. Hawk seconded that. Mr. Forbes, any comments?
Nothing on that one.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. I'm going to create a little bit of a turmoil. Yeah. We're going to move the agenda around a little bit if it pleases everyone. But what I would like to do, because we've got Mr. Sport in the audience, I would like to move item number 7D2 to the present and let him move forward. Okay? So he doesn't have to hear all the everything else, okay? But if I could have a motion to approve the appointment of Stephen Schwartz to a probationary teaching position and the elementary tenure position.
So moved.
Ms. Gullo, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Powell-Fortner. What do you got to say?
Hey, we're happy to have Steve here. And Steve, we didn't ask you, at least I didn't ask you this in the interview. The pronunciation of your last name is?
Schwartz.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. The building level committee, as well as in our final interview, was very impressed with what Steve brings to the table. Again, he will be working in grade 1 in the elementary school. He comes to us with 5 years of experience from Jamestown School District. And he is a JCC grad, as well as a grad from right here in SUNY Fredonia. Master's in Curriculum and Instruction. Again, has teaching experience in Jamestown, as well as student taught in Silver Creek and Dunkirk. So I think he understands the local considerations that are in play. He is certified in elementary education and has experience also as a baseball coach, which is always nice, and is currently a resident of Fredonia, from what I'm understanding as well. So we want to welcome Steve. Did a great job in the interview. An overwhelming choice of both committees, and we are not against putting people on the spot, as you could tell. So if you have a few thoughts you'd like to share with the group, feel free.
I'll just say there's a reason why I sat in the back, but we'll just kind of. Yeah, but I just say I'm super appreciative for you guys having me on, and I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, I was with Amy Piper interviewing for a substitute position job, and I always wanted to be here. Got my experience up in the meantime, and, everyone I've met so far has been so wonderful, to me. So I just thank you for the opportunity, and I'm excited to hopefully join these guys, So thank you.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments from the board? I will say it takes a very special man to be in the elementary school.
Yeah.
Very special.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you and welcome. Welcome. And again, you do not have to stick around, so we don't, we understand. Okay. I thank everyone for that little detour. So we've got a discussion regarding the 23-24 tuition rates. If I could have a motion to bring that to the floor, please. So Ms. Gallo and Mr. Johnston. Mr. Ziliaks.
Yeah, so again, this is an annual conversation. In looking at our numbers, which John had shared, it appears that we can continue to take on non-resident students without increasing sections or becoming a burden on our staffing or creating additional needs from a financial point of view. Within that is the rate at which we would charge those individuals each year. John has put together a couple different figures here. If you recall, he had taken the current figures, which is roughly about $2,800 for a student in K-6 and roughly $4,100 for a student in K-12. He projected those out at 0% increase, 1%, 2%, 3%, as well as 3.25%, which was our tax levy this year. So the conversation tonight is really around what we see as the appropriate rate. Pass one of those over to Sheila, please. And potentially approve that amount, and we can communicate that with our families. So, thoughts from the Board of Education? Or Mr. Forbes, anything you want to add?
The information I provided was required by board policy to the board in early June. The history has been, other than last year, we went a little bit higher than the levy, but to be around the levy the last few years. And that's why I broke it out 5% and then up to 3.25%. Really whatever the board's pleasure is.
So we've been higher in the last several years compared to the levy. Correct, yeah. So,
And again, the levy was low, 0.1.
right, yeah.
So what is our total increase, 7.8, 7.9 increase in total budget from last year to this year?
I don't have exactly, but I would say you're in that range, yeah.
Okay, so you'd be looking at that 7.9, you'd be $200.
Yeah, you'd be probably about 280 on the upper levels and probably about 180 on the lower levels.
Is there a reason why you didn't put a 2.5 in there as an option?
I just picked some numbers.
You just picked 1, 2, 3?
3.25 was the tax levy, so that's why I landed there.
How many students are we talking about on this? How many students?
Well, you got about 26, I think, right now, and we've got 10 to 12 on a waiting list spread out across the district. Some of those are currently students here whose families are moving to housing outside the district, so they're not all brand new to the district. And not all of them generally come and go back to them and tell them what the price is and so forth. A couple drop off.
So 26 K through 12?
Yeah.
I would continue to support minimum the tax levy.
We have kind of taken that as a rule of thumb, but not a policy that we use at the minimum when our tax levy goes up. So unless somebody has a feeling that we need to go higher, I could be convinced, but I think we need to start at the 325.
I'd go for 325.
Okay. So this is a discussion, it is not, correct? We're not voting on this, or are we?
I think the intention was to fill in the amounts and vote unless the board would like to table until another time.
Okay. So I will ask for a motion to increase non-resident student rates at the 3.25% level.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, so we have the approval of a release of the 23-24 purchase orders. May I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Ms. Gallo, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Fortner. Mr. Ziliaks, just a real quick summary on that.
Yeah, so a couple things in the mix here. Johnson Controls Fire Protection actually was reduced this year by about
Well, this is D.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
The purchase orders.
This is E, not F.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
F is the Johnson Controls.
I got you, yes. Yes, so at this time each year, we release the purchase orders for this coming school year. This gets the paperwork moving prior to July 1 and has everything, so to speak, on the launch pad ready to go, that when we hit the new fiscal year, we have things going out immediately. Some of those things are items we're hoping are here for the start of the school year, so we want to get the purchase orders out ASAP. Anything else, Mr. Forbes, that would be relevant there?
That covers it.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of a contract renewal with Johnson Controls Fire Protection for a fire alarm service for Main Street and Wheelock campuses. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Ms. Gallo and Mr. Hawk. Again, Mr. Zlidas.
Yeah, sorry, here we go. This actually represents a decrease, which doesn't happen very often from year to year. But because of the upgraded panel that we had installed earlier, there's a slight decrease in that cost.
Okay. Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the award for bid for trash removal for this coming school year. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please? Mr. Hawk, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Hahn. Okay.
Mrs. Ziliaks.
Yep, another annual resolution, and unless Mr. Forbes, you're going to tell me different, I believe that's the same amount as last year, and it was unchanged.
We've got another local contractor that I didn't see on the bid sheet. You're on the dumper, right?
We've sent out to probably 10 companies altogether, companies that you think might be interested in, and just no reply.
Okay. So the ones that are marked no bid replied to say they didn't want it?
They were sent packets that never responded.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of various special ed and summer school transportation contracts for students. Have a motion to bring that to the floor, please.
So moved.
Ms. Gallo, Ms. Paul Ford now.
Mr. Aldridge, on this one, there will be two reduced prices from what's in the board packet. The New York State had not established the final CPI to use for contract extensions for the summer until late last week, and I didn't have confirmation from Western New York Bus Company that they were in agreement with that. So if you want, I can give you what the rates are, or I can just make note of this slate.
Is there any preference from the board? I think we can just send it to Ms. Slagle.
Okay.
Okay.
So one question, and I know you were supposed to receive something on the proposal that was sent from First Student is the only one that did. Did you send that out? I missed it.
I did not send it out. We had a conference call on Friday to kind of go through, Dr. Zodex was with me, to kind of go through where we are in the process. At this point, it's a couple $100,000 in the first year higher than we're budgeted. So part of the recommendation from the Transportation Advisory Group was that we have a conversation with First Student, which we're going to do sometime in the next couple of days, see if we can get them to work with us on that number a little bit. And we didn't want to give you preliminary information to have it not be accurate, so you'll have something shortly.
About how much higher was it?
About 220 higher than we budgeted. But there was things in there that basically brought our contract up to current, things like additional cameras and tracking and things that we probably needed, but we've extended it since 1981, so those things were never brought in, they would change the base contract.
So we hired a firm that was supposed to find some efficiencies and so forth. Are they working with, in conjunction with the district office and the business office?
Yes.
On that, so they got a representative with you when you're talking with them?
Yep.
Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, so next we have the approval of appointment of Summer Klug to a full-time, long-term sub-position as school psychologist. We're going to have a motion to bring that to the floor, please.
So moved.
Ms. Paul Ford on the second.
Second.
Ms. Gallo. Any comments on this, Mr. Zodex?
Yeah. This is something the district is extremely happy about. This position has gone unfilled over the past year. The middle school school psych position. So Summer is currently living in England, but she is from Westfield. And she has several years of experience in Massachusetts and currently has a Massachusetts certification, which she is in the process and is making good strides in updating that to a New York certification. So much like the middle school science position at our last meeting, this technically is a long-term sub as a result of not quite being New York State certified, but that is in progress right now. Summer attended Cornell for her bachelor's in biology. She did her master's at Northeastern in Boston in applied educational psychology. She has a certification of advanced study in school psychology from Northeastern. She is nationally certified in school psychology. While living in England, she is currently a psychology tutor at Oxford. She also has a variety of school-based experience from Massachusetts. Before, she had headed to England, and she is looking forward to getting back to the States to be closer to family and friends, and that should happen in mid-August. So this has been quite a process, and we thank Mrs. Piper for bringing us this connection initially, which started a series of Zooms between Mrs. Farrow, myself, Dr. Wright, our other staff members to put this all together and make it work. So we're excited and look forward to her coming on board in mid-August or at the beginning of the school year.
Any questions?
That's great. She sounds excellent,
Yeah, very good news.
in spite of her alma mater.
You might get voted down on that. Just saying. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of appointment of Dan Bittinger to a probationary teaching position in the science tenure area. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Mr. Johnston, and a second. Mr. Hawk. Mr. Ziliak.
Oh yeah, you probably remember that Dan technically replaced Greg Lauer in the classroom. He came on as a long-term sub, as Mr. Lauer had a window of time to potentially return to the teaching ranks. Mr. Lauer has agreed that he will continue in his administrative position and understands that he is forfeiting the right to return to that position, so this would make Dan then a probationary teacher. Again, the time as a long-term sub counts towards tenure, so he'll roughly be in the 2-year window to earn tenure with us, knowing that he's worked hard over the last year, working on 2 years in the position as it stands. And we've been thrilled. I get a lot of positive feedback regarding Mr. Bittinger, especially from students, who, when I'm talking with them, maybe in the cafeteria or hallway, or as they're waiting for a ride, I often ask them what classes are going really well, and what teacher they're connecting with, and his name often comes up in those conversations. So nicely done by him, and we're excited to have him on board as a probationary teacher as opposed to a long-term sub, and also glad that Mr. Lauer will continue in his administrative roles. So, great. Good deal all the way around.
Questions?
I just wanted to mention that Mr. Bittinger could not be here tonight, but he did send a very nice email to us wanting us to express his thanks to the board. He said, I regretfully cannot attend tonight's board meeting, but I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to continue serving as a physics teacher here at Fredonia High School. I enjoy teaching here so very much and look forward to hopefully many more years of physics fun, spelled with a PH, to our students. Thanks to Dan for those kind words. He just wanted me to pass that along. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of probationary appointment for Kitty Pansick to a position of food service helper. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please? Ms. Powell Ford, now, in a second.
Second.
Ms. Gallo, thank you. Mr. Ziliak?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of bio information on Kitty, but again, we are appreciative of those who are willing to help out our district, especially in a more part-time basis. Sometimes those positions are hard to fill, so we appreciate her coming on board and assisting us with our food service preparation and delivery. So thanks to her, and again, welcome to the district.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have discussions regarding the New York State School Board Association Board of Directors election. If I could just have a motion to bring that to the floor for discussion.
So moved.
Ms. Gullo, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Johnston. Okay, so I guess my motivation to speak last meeting didn't work. Nobody from this board wanted to run for the Board of Directors of the School Board Association.
She had quite a resume.
Excuse me?
She had quite a resume.
Well, you know, I'll tell you something. I'm not gonna put any of our board members in a second place to anybody. So.
Except maybe her.
Just saying. I'm just saying. So I guess that's where we're at, really, is do we feel comfortable nominating her for the district, for the board of directors?
I would say yes. I mean, when I was attending meetings years ago on a regular basis, she was there. She seemed
Engaged.
Engaged. She's
Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay. So with that, I will take that as a motion to move forward with nominating her as for board of directors. If I guess if anyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Good. Mr. Ziliaks, your superintendent's report.
Oh, yeah, just touching base one last time. First order of business is we talked about a number of policies last time. I gave a brief summary around code of conduct, school safety plans, as well as hazing students in particular. I just want to make sure there wasn't any follow-up questions or anything unresolved with any of those policies. They are on the agenda tonight as a second reading. Any follow-up there from anyone? Okay. Also wanted to mention, Mr. Hawk had mentioned earlier that, yep, we're moving forward with our building condition survey work. Today is the first day that the blue shirt teams from Young and Wright were at the Wheelock campus. They will be there for the next 2 days on top of today. So again, they have a number of people going in and doing a full assessment of the facility. We also had the opportunity for our administrators as well as district office to identify areas we would like them to pay particular attention to. Thanks for Ms. Piper and our other administrators for doing so. But right now, those things are under review at Wheelock. We are excited about the prospects of moving forward. They will be here next week on the main campus for 3 days, and will continue with their same routines and protocols, which are pretty strict and very detailed, and they really seem focused on their tasks and are taking it very seriously. So again, this was one of the benefits prior to me coming on board. I think why Young and Wright was selected as our architect. And I feel like those things that they promised they're delivering on in this process, as well as the things that were mentioned at our board presentation earlier in the fall. Connected to that, we also last week had a meeting with Young and Wright at Wheelock to review the outlay project that will be happening there starting hopefully within a couple weeks. That is the work that will be done on the main entrance there to bring it up to speed with our other entrances. So there will be 2 sets of doors, the teller window. People in the office will be able to interact with anybody who visits. There'll be a pass-through to exchange license for the Raptor system, or if it's just a note or something very simple that needs to be dropped off, people will be able to do that without actually entering the building. And then people will only be allowed into the building once that conversation has happened, and someone then is buzzed and allowed into the building. So we're excited about that work starting, and that seems to be good to go. We talked about all the details in terms of locations of the teller window, locations of cameras that will be there. The representative from Siemens was there, who does all the access controls, and got into some details regarding that. So I thought it was a pretty thorough review of the work that will be done there over the summer, which also includes a little bit of flooring in some of the other classrooms as well. Mr. Forbes, anything to add?
No, that's very much right.
As Mr. Forbes had mentioned, there's been a couple things in play and a little bit of unknowns in the district so far. One is the transportation piece, which to me, the thought of being over $200,000 over budget was a little concerning. But we've also been processing as an administrative team the additional positions in the district. And again, part of the reason that we've been waiting to really make a final decision on this is partly based on need and partly based on our want to be as thorough as we can in exploring the options and what could be done outside of hiring additional staff. This conversation continues currently, especially with this news of transportation. In this moment right now, and we have one last AC meeting tomorrow that will wrap up the school year, but will conclude this conversation. We're anticipating some increase in special education, in music, in art, in social worker position in the district, and also perhaps an overage in middle school special ed. So that's an update for the time being, although we're looking to confirm those positions, share that with the Board of Education, and then post as soon as possible to hire. Lastly, at this time of year, as I did last week as well, I just really want to express gratitude for everybody who works in the district, also for our larger school community. This is a time of year when we see all the benefits of what we've done. A lot of end-of-the-year celebrations, graduation coming up this weekend. It's really a nice time to reflect and think about where we've been and what we've accomplished and where we're going from here. That does not happen without the hard work, dedication of everyone who's attached to the district, including our administration, our faculty and staff, our community members, our parents, and also our Board of Education. So thanks to all of the above. I feel like it's also an opportunity to bring us back to what we started talking about 2 years ago, and that was really, what are we trying to accomplish as a district? What's our purpose? What do we aspire to be? And what are those concepts that are near and dear to us and will guide how we behave, especially, and also how we make decisions? And we settled on a few things going on 2 years ago now. Our mission is really being about a place where individuals can become their greatest selves. And again, in our minds, that's what we are doing each day. That is why we exist, is to provide an experience where everybody can become their greatest selves. In terms of what we aspire to be, we've talked a lot about providing those innovative, global, and dynamic educational opportunities for students. And I think we've made good progress in those areas. In terms of core beliefs, the ideas of being student-centered, respectful, showing integrity, being inclusive, honoring diversity, working towards excellence, communication, and again, that focus on positive intent through communication. How are we interacting in such a way that we get to a better place, that we show respect, and that we honor those that we work with. And lastly, resilience. How do we keep moving forward despite some challenges or setbacks? And as we do the roundtable today, each of our administrators will share a couple ways in which they, in their buildings and in their roles, have helped us get to this point where we're assisting people becoming their greatest selves. From a district office perspective, way earlier this year, we updated our website as well as made an app available to our families that increased our communication and actually put the ease of communication in the hands of our school community through their cell phones. Ms. Slagle was definitely very involved and instrumental in that process. I want to thank her for that. We've also continued to do our best to communicate weekly or bi-weekly through our SMORE update and really focus on those concepts that I was just talking about in those updates, showing how we're being innovative, how we're being dynamic, how we're being global. How is it that we're creating a scenario where someone can become their best selves? How are we honoring the ideas of integrity or diversity or excellence or communication with positive intent? We've really made an an effort to make that connection very clear between what's happening in the district and those concepts that we agreed upon. Lastly, and I want to thank Dr. Wright, she has really taken our curriculum council to a new level this year out of the district office and has done work not only with the Envision Math, but now with literacy, also professional development and learning, as well as social and emotional learning. That has been a huge step forward for our curriculum council, for our ILs, and for our district, having conversations that we either haven't engaged in the past or at a much deeper level this past school year. So thanks, Dr. Wright, for that. Other than that, unless there's questions, that's all I have for the update tonight.
So we've reserved this time to hear comments from the public. Anybody want to talk? Address the board? Okay, your last opportunity, I guess.
It is my last opportunity.
Yeah.
I think you just stole my first line. I apologize for having it on my phone. Kind of wrote it on the fly. Good evening. This looks to be my last opportunity to speak to you before I leave. Thank you for all the kind words this evening. I very much appreciate the opportunity, along with every other opportunity afforded to me over the years. I would like to thank the district's negotiation team that's currently working with the CSEA unit. I personally feel that there has been some good progress made through productive discussion. And you are correct, it's not easy to do that job. You have honored several people here tonight, and each of them retiring or newly tenured are amazing, and the district is very lucky to have all of them, or have had all of them. This is the hard part. I hope that when I'm done, you will not hold what I say against the person I would like to champion tonight. They are absolutely unaware I'm doing this, and if they knew, they would try to stop me. They wouldn't be able to, but they would try. I would like to express my disappointment with the district's history of selecting the unknown over the well-developed, well-integrated, and well-qualified candidates for employment in our school. I'm speaking specifically about my friend and coworker, James Hobbs, who recently interviewed for the counseling position that's open in the high school. James does so much for the district.
I'm going to ask that we not mention names during public session, because that's really, we don't get into personnel issues and we don't mention people by name.
Okay. I apologize. I don't know how to take that out. Do you want me to stop, or would you like me to?
I'll tell you what, I don't have a problem with you giving your opinion to the board, but I don't know as if during public session is the appropriate time.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
If you would like to formalize that in a written letter.
I absolutely can.
For the board, I have no problem with that, but it kind of sounds like we're going down a path that, again, when we start talking about personnel, it's something that's pretty forbidden within public sessions of school boards.
Absolutely understand.
Okay.
Again, thank you all for my time here. I appreciate you all.
Thank you. Okay.
Good night.
Thank you. Okay. The annual organization meeting will be our next regular Board of Education meeting on Wednesday, July 5th, 6 o'clock here in High School Library. It will be tough for me to switch my thinking from a Tuesday to a Wednesday, but I can do it. Hopefully I don't need to remind everybody else. I don't know if other board members received this correspondence from Stephen Sukab. Everybody did, but just for the public to know, they had sent, I guess then, obviously, myself and all board members a picture of the 2023 Quest. Members and leaders and student leaders and everybody who was involved, thanking us for our support, which, you know, let me tell you something. If you want to talk about being ironic, the Cobbs are thanking us for being supportive. You know, I would think that we should be, we do thank them. I know we do, for what they are doing for our students. But I just find that funny. They do so much for our students in that whole organization. Okay, so we're just going to start going around. Mr. Johnston, any comments?
Just having a reflective moment at the end of the year. Just as a retired educator, it's just very appreciative and thankful to be involved in education still with a fine group, Dr. Zoliak's, the board members here, our administrators, Dr. Wright, staff and students. I forgot others, but it's just it's enjoyable for me to be still a part of it. That's all tonight.
Okay. Ms. Gill?
Just congratulations to everyone we had here tonight and to the seniors, and hope the weekend goes well.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Exciting time of the year. I was happy to be back and forth on campus a couple of times today for pickup and drop off, and field day excitement and bounce houses and everything. So thank you for all you do, and I'm glad that we have an opportunity to celebrate.
Yes. Mr. Ott?
I would like to just tag on and thank you to everybody in the district for what they do, and also just want to add to what you said. Thank you to the Cobbs. It means a lot in our district, and those kids remember that for forever. I think it just lives with them.
Yeah.
And not only to the Cobbs, but all the volunteers.
Yes.
Because it's quite a group of people that are involved in that, and you know, they change their schedules, they take time off from their jobs, and it's for the love of doing it and helping the kids. There's nothing else there for them. They love to do it. So,
thank you. Ms. Hine?
I too want to express gratitude to everyone here, and that, like the Cobbs, I think what makes this district special is so many people go above and beyond and make the experience special for the kids as they pass through these schools. And that's what life is about. That's what they'll remember, and that's what their childhoods are made of. So I appreciate being part of this district.
That's what makes the community, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice community.
Yeah. Great. Dr. Wright?
Thank you. I think it was really wonderful that our newest teacher to the district that was approved tonight got to hear about all the tenure and the celebration and how serious it's taken. And for someone who is a resident of Fredonia and who has said that he's wanted to be a teacher in this district, to give up tenure and a position someplace else, for him to see and hear the words of everybody, and to see how the administrators interact with the teachers, and the teachers are appreciative, and the discussion here, and you could just see him beaming. And I thought, how wonderful from his perspective to, as a way to get such an impression from the district. So I was just excited to see that. I wanted to thank Dr. Zoliak for his kind words and definitely highlight the work and the people this year on Curriculum Council. We broke into the 3 subcommittees, and we did a tremendous amount of work. And to see the emergence of leadership among the teachers and the conversations across the K-12, people who don't normally sit together get a chance to work together, have these discussions and share their perspectives and hear and be willing to hear perspectives of others. It was really a wonderful, productive year. On the Professional Development Committee, Kate Summer, Mackenzie Sheldon, Kat Beyer, Laura Depew, Andy Bennett, Steve Romans, Liz Gruber, and Greg Haas. On the Social Emotional Learning Alignment Committee, Amy Lauer, Karen Scott, Kat Beyer, Beth Merwin, Renee Shapinsky, Jack Goot, Gina Gaccieri, Erin Gefrida, Michelle McAfee, and Jen Christie. On our Literacy K-12 Committee, which is a huge lift, and they are dedicated to really being leaders for summer curriculum writing. And we're really excited to have some of this ARP funding to be able to dedicate to those gaps in analysis and horizontal and vertical discussions. And that's not a resource we would normally have. And so to use it in this way, to be able to really deep dive into literacy has been huge. So thank you to Bonnie Burnett, Rhonda Lee, Jerry Workoff, Sarah Jastrab, Sarah Graham, Laura Kolbenbach, Lisa Reinhardt, Donna Hill, Jen All, Carly Koopman, Mary Benchley, Julie Hassett, and Suzanne Voss. And then finally, a huge shout out to our math committee. This subcommittee has stayed strong. This is outside of Curriculum Council. They started a year and a half ago in January to begin the review process. And we're getting ready for a deep dive into summer curriculum writing. We have 32 people across the K-8 who have signed up to be part of this, to actually sit there together in one room, to have horizontal discussions, vertical lunch tables. All of this is just so, from a nerd perspective, very exciting. This is what I do, so it's very exciting to me. And this has been a year and a half of leadership, to the point where this committee, they're working on communication plans and recommending them. And it's just fascinating to see them come together as a team. So a huge shout out to Christine Graham, Kathy Price, Laura Haas, Michelle McAfee, Julie Hassett, Sarah Jastrab, Amanda Kowiak, Marie Fagan, and Kathy Rush for their year and a half long dedication and their desire to be leaders and facilitators during the summer curriculum. So huge shout out to them. So thank you.
Great. Mr. Paskey, anything going on this weekend?
I don't think so.
No?
I think we're done. Yeah, this week we've got cap and gown pickups all week. They're turning in all of their equipment, their Chromebooks, to make sure that they can get their caps and gowns. Graduation on Sunday, but before that, just a reminder that we do have our clap out parade on Friday. We line up at 9:15 on Friday. We start out by the tennis courts and we go through our bus loops, and then we head up to Wheelock and go through their bus loop, and then we go do graduation rehearsal. So of course you're all invited to that. We usually reserve a space for the board right in front of the high school office entrance, so if you guys would like to attend. Hopefully we won't have any rain. There's a chance of rain Friday, so we're hoping that we have good weather. We haven't had any bad weather yet. We also have driver's ed starting on Monday. Dan Bittinger, who we appointed to this full-time regular probationary position, he's our driver's ed instructor now also. So that will kick off right away, which is amazing. Again, with a car donated by Basil, and we thank them for that. Just to recap a couple of things from the year, I mean, there were so many, it's hard to kind of narrow it down, but kind of thinking about things that have kind of been an enduring past, present type stuff, and then the things that are more future focused. Our music program has consistently been a jewel in, I think, our district, and just the continued success with the NAM designation that we get. We're one of 5% of the districts in our country that get recognized for community for music. Again, all of our ensembles this year got gold or golden distinction for their performances with NYSSMA. We have been innovative with our new drones course that started this year, and the fitness and nutrition course that we've added, which has been extremely popular. Kids are flocking to that. I want to thank Brad and Margie for really supporting us with the STEM initiatives that kind of tag on to those. The EduCon trip that we were able to take, we visited Lockport schools to see what their STEM program is like, and what we could bring back and make it Fredonia-esque, if you will, like not just steal a program, but how can we use some of the things they're doing but make it our own. So it's exciting to look at some of those things. We have our freshman transition committee, a group of teachers that really are concerned about the big jump from 8th grade to 9th grade. So we've been working hard throughout the year. So on the 28th of August, we're going to have our new freshman, instead of just regular freshman orientation, we're having more of a freshman boot camp. And it's going to start at 1 o'clock and it's going to end at 7 o'clock. And around 5 o'clock, we're going to invite the parents to come in. We're going to have some food together. But it's going to be a lot about expectation. We're going to have fun. But we really want to make sure that the kids understand the expectations in the high school, what they're going to be expecting. We're going to be doing some trips around the building and to really familiarize them with everybody, and have all of our freshman teachers here to be a part of that, so they can start to build those relationships on that day. So we're excited about that. Lastly, I just wanted to hit our ambassador program, which I think is, and our Blue Card Boot Camp, two things that were added through grants this year to, again, be future focused for our kids. The ambassador program is going to be community outreach and getting our kids immersed in the history of our school and being able to, when we welcome new students partway through the year, it's not just, here's your books, here's your schedule, good luck. They're going to be paired up with our ambassadors to make that transition easier. Same thing with our incoming freshmen. We're going to have the ambassadors doing all sorts of events. We're looking at having them help at graduation this year for the first time, even though it's new. They're going to help us with some of that. Then when we have concerts, they're going to be a part of that. They're going to be giving tours of our building. I'm hopefully going to be able to relinquish my job as the summer tour director for all of our classes that come back, the class of 1958, the class of whatever, they come in and do tours. It'd be great to have our own students being able to share the remarkable things about our school. So they're being trained for that right now, and we're extremely excited about that. And I'll stop there to be talking too long. Sorry. But thank you. It's exciting. I love our kids, love our school. Thanks to all of you also for everything that you do for us. So thank you.
And so when I talked to Dr. Ziliaks about this last week, I really wanted our principals, our administrators to say, what things have you done this year that's making really our students their best selves? And you've highlighted a few. So that's really where I'm going with this. It's how do we make our kids their best selves? And what have we done this year to help get them there? So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Ms. Troutman.
All right, I only have 3 because I follow directions. So, just saying. Hard to follow that, but we really concentrated on communication this year. And if you noticed, we have some social media presence at the middle school. Kevin Way has done an absolutely amazing job for us. He daily is putting things out on social media, highlighting the great things that are happening in the middle school. So I just want to put a big shout out to him and all of our staff, because now they look to, we are literally sending him things through the phone constantly. Hey, here's some more. So great job to him. One of the things that we wanted to concentrate on is really making sure our kids feel connected. And so this year we started Check and Connect, where Madeline Mueller and Danielle Bongiovanni, 2 of our middle school teachers, did a survey at the beginning of the year, kind of gauging kids. Do you feel connected to a person, an adult in the building? Do you feel safe with them? And we had some kids who were kind of iffy, and so they met with those kids. They assigned them to an adult in the building. Those adults met with them, had lunch with them. They checked in with them on a weekly basis, and we really saw those kids kind of come out of their shell. And so that's something we're hoping to continue into next year. We really saw, a huge gain for the kids. Another thing that we are looking at is really individualizing our instruction as much as possible for our kids. So we started WIN this year at the middle school. We kind of piloted it, and it stands for What I Need. Derek Cook, who received tenure today, and Melissa Previtt at 7th grade, ELA. They both took it on last summer. And we met last summer and we talked about what it could look like. They really, rolled their sleeves up and they developed assessments. They identified some skills that they thought the kids need to have in ELA. And throughout the school year, they really dove in. They did a lot of conferencing with their students, one-on-one, and collected data to see how kids were improving. And I am very proud to say that their class grew on our iReady benchmarks by 150%. Their stretch growth, which is more than 1 year, so with iReady, they're hoping that kids will grow 1 year. Their stretch growth, 56% of their kids grew more than 1 year, and 62% improved on their grade level placement. So they went up in grade levels. So it was great results. We're very excited about it. And the great thing is next year we will be moving WIN into 8th grade. Michelle and Jenna are very excited about it. Hopefully we're going to get some time this summer for the 4 of them to meet and kind of decide where they're going with it. So, some good things.
Thank you. Mr. Derlington.
Thank you. Yeah, so as we wrap up the year in the elementary school, we wanted to first help kids be their best selves by addressing their social emotional needs. So we kind of followed WELAC's lead and we adopted the Second Step program. So at the beginning of the year, our teachers sat down and we set a goal. We said, hey, in every classroom, let's teach 2 SEL lessons a month. And I'm proud to report my little dashboard, we've successfully taught 480 lessons, and that means 100% of our teachers met that goal. So that was something that we're proud of in year 1 of this program, and we're looking to expand it into the coming years. So that's what we did to help the kids out socially. And then we wanted to work as a building to build our connection with the community. And we kind of did that 2 ways. Like the middle school, we really wanted to ramp up our online presence. So this month alone, our Facebook page had 14,924 unique viewers. Last year, this exact same month, our Facebook page had 647. So, I mean, the growth in 1 year has just been tremendous. And it's really just a way to highlight, I mean, it's how people access information now. And I'm embarrassed that we're this late to the game, but I'm proud of that growth. So I can't wait to see what it does, next year this time. It'll be kind of cool. So in addition to our online presence, our PTO really stepped up their game. Last year we had about 2 events throughout the course of the year. This month we've had monthly events. And our fundraiser this year we did the readathon where we had people pledge dollar amounts to read. The readathon raised $9,000, so that kind of more than doubled our bank account, so that kind of opens the doors to do more activities. So I feel we've really grown our PTO as well, and we owe them a lot of thanks. And then academically, we pushed our kids this year. We adopted the Mystery Science program for the first year, which was really kind of cool. Our teachers engaged in those lessons. They liked that a lot. And most recently this week, I met with a professor at the college who wants to extend a partnership with us. And she wants to come in September and do a pond water and poetry unit, which is really kind of cool. And I'm looking forward to that. Our iReady data meetings are Thursday, so I don't have my final numbers yet, but I have no doubt that our kids grew in their ability to read, thanks to our teachers. So that's kind of what we did here at the elementary school this year. So thank you for our support.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Farrow.
So I sent an email out to my department and I asked them to take a moment to consider what they feel special education's done this school year to support our mission to help students become their greatest selves. And I said something big or small, but just something you feel is impactful for our students. So I got a number of replies and the themes were very similar. So relationship building was kind of what emerged first and foremost, and meeting students' basic needs, and those are things like doing kids' laundry, making sure that they're fed, ensuring that kids are comfortable, have a sense of belonging, and that they matter. And they also commented that academic gains for students in special education were really built on that foundation of love, compassion, and kindness that they've shown to students this year and in past years as well. They talked about positive connections, that students know that they can count on their teachers and that therefore increases their morale and drive to do well. They've improved communication with parents. One teacher sent me an example that just the other day a high school student during final exam weeks walked into a room where special ed teachers, high school teachers were meeting between finals, and that student took the time to thank each and every one of those teachers for their support and getting them really through to the finish line. Along the lines of integration and inclusion, I have several people comment on what I would say is really the seamless integration of students with disabilities into the school community, and passionate advocacy and support by teachers in our department, and also, the recognition that we've worked hard to give a lot of our kids who struggle with self-regulation some skills and ability to kind of keep themselves in a regulated state under what is they really see through their own eyes as very stressful situations. So those were really the emerging themes, but more visibly, some of the things that people commented on was really the amazing expansion, and I wrote this down, I can't read my own writing, the enthusiasm around unified sports this year, the reintroduction of the Special Olympics event was a big deal for a lot of people, and is always an exciting event, so people commented on that. And one thing that I've noticed is the introduction of therapy dogs this year has really, it's not necessarily a special ed initiative, but one of our speech therapists has a therapy dog that she brings in. It's amazing to watch that in action and the impact that it has. And I know that there's, one student in particular that I without exaggeration, I would say this student's life has been changed by a therapy dog. And that student brings that dog to my office to visit and we chat, and it's just so cool. So that's what I've got.
Thank you. And I will say, I think that one thing that maybe gets missed in this unified program is, it helps your students, but it helps the other students who are there cheering them on, who are creating some kind of a community here, creating an inclusion type of a setting, and say, we're all in this together, and it doesn't matter, everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses, but we're all here together. And I think that, some of your students may think that they get a lot out of this. I will tell you that it's the kids that are there cheering them on and participating with them. It is just phenomenal.
It's really cool to watch.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. It just creates a wonderful sense of community for our school. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Piper.
Field day today. Did it. We survived. It was great. Tomorrow, our UPK families all gather at Queen Gratiot, which is a wonderful tradition. They come together and spend the day with families and with teachers and the aides, and it's just a delightful end of the year. Kindergarten moving up ceremony, first ever. We're doing a moving up ceremony on Thursday morning for our kindergarten students as they move up to the big school, so we're pretty excited about that as well. As far as, it was hard to sort of pinpoint places, because that's sort of like our theme, all of us, is what we do, is we push students to become their greater selves. So to really pinpoint a few things, a couple of things that came to mind. We did a book study this year with the WELOC staff, and most of our staff was involved throughout the year, meeting monthly and talking about discussing this book, and we had some aides involved, and it was just enlightening because we didn't necessarily agree with the author. Some did, some didn't, but it brought us all together, pushed us to really think about some of our philosophy and beliefs, especially as we see so many students with trauma. And the things that they're going through is much different than what we've seen before. So that was definitely a highlight and pushed us all to think a little bit more deeply about our students. We did a community outreach project, meeting with Albert Ramirez earlier this year and Cassie Farrell, our school social worker. We talked about how can we connect with families better. How can we make sure that they know we're a safe place, that we're safe people for them to connect with, that will help them and support them and their families. And so we went out to Green Acres about a month ago after school hours, and we brought some popsicles and we brought some books. Previously I had gone out and met with the manager of Green Acres and had asked, and she was delighted. Gave us some space to do that, so we spent a couple hours out there and met with some families, and Albert got to meet some people. Our Parents as Teachers program partners came with us, and we gave away a lot of books that we had just collected through the years, and just really feel like that was a big impact of that community with those families. And then last but not least, the Teacher of the Year. We get those notices every year, take a look at it, it's a lot of work. And looking at it this year, I thought, really, I would be remiss to not put forward Ellen Foley, and I can think of a dozen others that can be put forward as well from Fredonia. And the fact that she's made it this far in this process has pushed all of us to really think about it. You'll hear that common theme that we lack, and I'm sure across the district. Well, did the Teacher of the Year do that? Well, this is the Teacher of the Year. So it really has made us all think about what Ellen does, how we can model after what she does, and what we all do to really strive to be the Teacher of the Year.
Good. Michelle. Mr. Forbes? Nothing? Ms. Slagle? Nothing? Okay. Well, before we go into executive session, I just wanted to say to the board, this is the last meeting of this term. So this is my last meeting as president for this term. And before it's too late, I would just like to say I thank every single one of you. And it has been, I serve at your discretion, first of all. It's very humbling when I look at my other board members, and I respect every single one of you. It's been an honor and a privilege for these 4 years. Each one of you has some unique strengths that you bring to this board. You're unique, and you come with a different perspective. You all have opinions, and we know that in executive session, definitely. But you're all independent thinkers, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Asking questions is a requirement if we're going to understand the dealings of the board that we have to vote on and the decisions that we have to make. So I thank you for all the questions we have. Because with better understanding, we have better decisions. Some people think that the school board is a rubber stamp, and I will guarantee you that it is anything but here. So I guess I'd just like to say that even though we can disagree, there's one thing that we have a common goal of, and that's to help make our students their best selves. And I think that the mission, vision, core beliefs are something that I truly believe in, and I think that we have to keep in the front of our minds. The school board has to think about that, and every time that we make decisions. So I thank each and every one of you. With that, a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second. We are in executive session at 8 o'clock. Thank you.